What's up, YouTube? So, a topic that I haven't really discussed in a while, however, it's so pervasive in today's world, is that of dealing with, not necessarily narcissists, but individuals who have narcissistic behavioral patterns or tendencies. Because you can be a narcissist in the sense that you were born and conditioned to be an individual who lacks empathy and just projects 100% of their reality. Like, we know these people, but not everyone who exhibits the behavior is a narcissist. Some people have just picked up these behavioral patterns because they think they're normal and they're acceptable, and they haven't learned or unlearned their own shit, basically. But that's not your problem, right? Like, your problem is how to cope or how to deal with these people in a way that leaves you feeling congruent as opposed to feeling defeated. A way that helps you get seen and heard and use your voice as opposed to feeling deflated and, unheard, right? Like, there's nothing worse than defending yourself and then wondering why that didn't work, right? And so, this unfortunately is just too common anymore, dealing with these narcissistic people. And I want to address that because at the core of any power struggle, whether they're a narcissist or not on the other side, is this need to get validation on the external. And these people, they present themselves in a way because they're basically feeding off of the parts of ourselves that we're rejecting. So when we find ourselves in these power struggles, it's because we've decided that somehow they are more valuable or their opinions are more valuable than our own, right? So we've decided that our self-worth is somehow contingent upon how they feel, how they act, or how they present themselves in a way that either validates us or doesn't validate us. And so pulling away from those power struggles can be really tricky because, we've viscerally become addicted to the response patterns of them. And I just want to share that, like, it's really common. This is a really, really, really common problem people have. And it's honestly just revealing like your own blind spots as far as like where you're not loving yourself, respecting yourself, or setting boundaries for yourself. Okay. And so we can look at them and think they're the problem, right? And yes, their behavior is gross. Like, I get it. I totally get it. However, we have to operate knowing or accepting the fact that like they're not going to change, right? Because we have no control over how other people show up. We can only control how we show up. So changing or reframing the way we show up or how we operate is going to really help us stay in that power place, because it doesn't matter or shouldn't matter how they respond, right? The goal is to be congruent and feel whole regardless. And so that's essentially what they're teaching you, is like they are a reflection of where you're not congruent and where you need to pull back those parts. And the reason I bring this up is because while I have discussed the fact that I'm going to do this program, this 10-week program on taking your power back, I just want to remind people that like this is one of the biggest culprits. Like, dealing with these narcissistic people is like probably like the number one thing, right? There's lots of ways that we lose our power. There's lots of ways we can show up very codependently, not using our voice, not executing on what we want, or being really true to our authenticity. Like, there's a lot of ways that we leak power. But like, I'd say the number one kicker that makes us aware of the fact that we're not in our power is because we have come across someone in our life who is just bleeding us, and we haven't figured out how to quit the hemorrhage, like how to fix that hemorrhage point, right? So we're going to be talking about it. Like, this is a huge thing that we'll be discussing in my course, because this is really like, if you can learn how to take your power back with these kind of people, everything else is kind of secondary. So I did want to share that. I did want to clarify that this is a big piece of the program. So if you are in a position in your life where you feel as though you're like, God, every time I deal with this person, I find myself feeling extremely insecure. Just so much fear comes up in confronting them, even on basic things, right? Like, it can be really bad. or you feel like you always have to justify yourself or explain yourself or defend yourself, like all of these behaviors are power leaks, okay? And the person on the outside who we think is the problem is actually just revealing where we need to do our work. So if you are interested in learning how to specifically take back your power with someone in your life who you feel like is just bleeding you dry, then please reach out to me. I'm going to launch this the third week of June. I've actually never done like a low ticket program before like this. And so like take advantage of it now because I don't know if I'm going to do it again. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to me. We'll talk about it. And I hope that you get on board because this is definitely like one of the areas of my life where I truly love to show how I excel. Like it's definitely an area of expertise for me that I have really mastered. And yeah, there's no skin off my back when I deal with people. Like I can't remember the last time that I fell prey to an individual of this type, right? So, and yes, everything is a practice, and you're not going to be like an expert overnight, but like knowing the process, knowing the tools, like come on, we got to start somewhere. So if you're interested, again, please email me and we'll talk about it. All right, have a good one. Bye.